So I'm going to show you one of the very best real estate videos I've seen in a long time, but the agent misses one essential point that he should have covered. So I'm going to break it down for you here and help you to know what to look for. I'm Michael Hausam, an active real estate broker in Southern California and the founder of HAUS ADVANTAGE to help home buyers and home sellers understand exactly what should be happening in their real estate transaction, whether they've hired an agent or not.
If you're waiting for the perfect time to buy a home in 2026, you might be making the most expensive decision of your life because the perfect time is usually obvious in hindsight.
So it's incredibly rare for me to watch an entire video like this and be impressed, and this was one of those times. No wonder this agent has like 128,000 subscribers and it's generated like 15,000 views in a really short time. In fact, I basically agree with every single thing he says in the video, and I loved how he said it. But it was what he left out that was missing. And what he left out is the part that you should be really careful about because it's the most important thing to you as a potential homebuyer. So I'm going to quickly walk through the great points he made, and then I'll tell you at the end what he should have added. And then it might have been the perfect homebuyer video.
Let's go back to say 2022. The story was simple. Rates were rising fast, the market was shifting, and buyers were terrified of buying right before a drop. Then 2023 and 2024 became an affordability mess. Rates moved around, prices stayed high, and people kept hoping for a crash that never showed up, especially the way they wanted. Now we're going into 2026, and the vibe is completely different. Mortgage rates ended 2025 at the lowest levels of the year, around 6.15% per Freddie Mac. And the big theme for 2026 is likely modest relief, not a miracle. Because here's the thing, inventory has been recovering in a lot of places, and forecasts for 2026 generally expect gradual improvement, not a flood of supply. So if you've been waiting for 3% rates and 20% price cuts at the same time, I'm not saying it can't happen, it can happen. But historically, that usually requires an economic gut punch.
So his first major point is how the market has shifted over the last 4 years. Right on. The best point here is to say that buying a house is about timing your life and not timing the market. That's brilliant. So many people ask me about whether it's the right time to buy, as if they're day trading houses or they're working commodity futures, trying to sell options in orange juice today because a cold snap has been forecasted tomorrow in Florida. But houses don't work like that. If the timeline on a house is measured in years that you're going to be in it rather than months, frankly, the differences of $10,000 or $20,000 or even $50,000 or $100,000, depending on your market, it kind of just disappears into the rear view. The better question is whether or not your life circumstances are such that it's the right time to buy. Stability, income, credit scores, relationship status, all of these things are totally important to consider. He gets this right on.
So when someone asks me, should I buy in 2026? My first thought is, where are you buying? Because a balanced national market can still mean multiple offers in one zip code and price cuts 3 counties away. So yes, 2026 looks more balanced nationally, but your experience as a buyer is going to depend on your local supply, your local demand, and your price point.
Again, this is great insight. Markets are micro. I see it all the time. Even within a city, there can be differences. One tract might have 3 houses for sale, and then 2 blocks away, they may not have had an active listing for a year. Totally different animals and a point that can't be missed. National trends and averages, totally meaningless for you as a home buyer.
I think it comes down to 3 buckets. Can you comfortably afford the payment is number 1. Notice I didn't say, do you like the payment? Nobody likes the payment right now. The question is, can you afford it without needing a refinance to save you? If your plan is, I'll buy now and refinance later so I can afford it, you're gambling. And gambling with your housing situation is a terrible idea. You buy the house when the payment works today, and refinancing is upside, not the plan. Number 2 is, are you buying for the right reason? Buying because you're scared you'll miss out is a bad reason. Buying because you have a stable life, a stable plan, and you want to lock in housing long term, that's a real reason. Because there's no such thing as a 30-year fixed rent. Now, number 3 is, are you going to stay long enough for the math to actually work? This is where most people mess up. They buy with a short-term mindset, then get emotional when the market does what markets do. If you're not staying put or at least keeping the home as a rental if life changes, you need to think twice.
Totally solid advice. And it's the exact same thing I've said so many times. It's just impossible to count. Because these are the three things that are actually hard to be self-aware enough about to be honest with yourself.
Most people wait because they think it's the conservative move. But waiting has risk too. Prices can rise, rates can rise, competition can come back, and you can lose options. And even if prices don't spike, you still lose time. And time matters because ownership is a long-term game.
Of course, there's definitely a risk of waiting, especially if you have at least a 4 to 6 year time frame that you expect to be in a house. The average time to own a home in California is 11 years. So perspective, since I got into the business right out of school in 1991, when I was still getting haircuts every 3 weeks, there have been 2 significant price drops in that entire 35 years. But anybody that purchased a home at any time during those 35 years, even if it was at the high point before one of those drops, if they had held on to the average 11 years, they still would have made money. Anyone who waited for this through this period ultimately got left behind, and that is his point about waiting, and it's a great one.
One recent study of data showed homeowners with a median net worth around $400,000 versus $10,400 for renters, which is where that nearly 40 times number actually comes from. Now, correlation doesn't equal causation, which means owning a home doesn't magically make you wealthier, but home ownership forces a few things to happen. You pay down the principal over time, you benefit from appreciation over long periods, and you lock in your housing costs.
He also rightly discusses the wealth gap between renters and buyers. For the vast majority of folks, owning a home is one of the major differences between those that don't have a high net worth and those that do.
This is exactly why a balanced market can be an opportunity, not because it's cheap, because it's rational. And if you're someone who's been doing the right things, like saving money, improving your credit, building stability, a more balanced market can give you the one thing you haven't had since 2020, leverage as a buyer. Here's what I want you to focus on controlling. You can't control rates, you can't control prices, you can't control the feds, you can't control headlines, but you can control 3 things. The first, your credit score. This is a big one in my opinion. Your credit impacts your rate and your payment more than most people realize. Even small improvements matter. The second thing is your cash position. Down payment, yes, but more importantly, reserves. I want you to have money in the bank after closing. And the reason for that is because life happens. And the third thing is your payment comfort. If you're currently renting for $3,000 a month and your future mortgage is going to be $4,500 a month, here's a simple test. Start paying the $4,500 right now. Pay your rent and put the extra $1,500 into savings every month for say 90 days. If that crushes you, you just learned something. If you can do it comfortably, you're training for the real thing and building your down payment at the same time.
So he starts the conclusion of the video by identifying that this current market shift is a good opportunity for those that are ready. And the advice is to do all the things that are necessary. And he's right on here. Totally love that.
If you want a simple takeaway from this video, it's this. Buy when your life is ready, not when the market is perfect. Now, if you've watched this far, you're ready to become a homeowner, you're not sure where to start, there's actually a link in the description of this video. You can get in touch with me and my team, and we can help guide you through the process. And if you're not sure if you're ready, we're actually hosting a live workshop here at the end of January that's going to walk you through the entire home buying process.
So he concludes the video here with this call to action, and this is the point that I feel like he totally blew it. His offer is to either have his team help a ready buyer with a phone call or to attend his workshop if somebody isn't quite sure. But here's my question, and it should be yours too. No matter how impressed we might be with his analysis and his advice and all of that, why you? Why pick him? There are over 300,000 licensed agents in California, and presumably all of them can help somebody get a house, and most of them all sound exactly the same. They may be able to explain the market, maybe better than anyone. They really care. They say they can negotiate, but specifically, why them? Why him? And this is the perspective that you should have as a buyer when talking to an agent. Given whatever level of experience and knowledge you have, An agent should be able to help you in ways that you can't do for yourself or they're totally unnecessary. You need to hear specifics about the advantages to you if you work with them. What's in it for you if you do, and the risks if you don't. And they should be able to explain exactly what those things are and why. So last year, I had a windshield in my car replaced, right? I hired somebody else to do it because I had no idea what to do. But before I hired the guy, I made damn sure to find out that he had done my model of car before and that he had a long history of previous customers that were totally happy with the work. What this guy kind of did in his video was the equivalent of describing what was going on with my windshield. It's broken. Discussing all the different things to consider, a lot of things that nobody even knows or gets right? But he never gets down to saying, I should be the one that you hire to put the windshield in. He doesn't explain anything like that. Now, it could be the price of the windshield, or his availability, or timing to come to my house, or the special glass that he has, or the coating that he puts on it, or a special treatment. All of those kinds of things would have been secret sauce. But he doesn't give the real estate version of that. So we don't know why him. If you're going to hire somebody to guide you through the largest financial decision of your life, they should be able to explain in compelling, simple detail why pick them. Lots of agents can open doors. All of them are friendly, most of them are friendly, and that's great. But very few of them design outcomes with strategies and tactics that only they can do, specifically designed for you. Not very many do that. So here's the question that you need to have at the ready. If you're interviewing an agent, or even if you call this guy's sales team, or you go to his workshop, or even if you called me, the question is, why you? And if they can't quickly answer and do it within a minute, you probably shouldn't hire them. Now, I've got two ways that I can help you here. The first way is to download my free guide, How to Hire a Realtor. There's a description below and also in the pinned comment. It's everything you need to think about and the questions you need to ask when you're talking to any real estate agent and what to listen for. The second way to help you is my free workshop. I go into more detail and coaching on what to do and what not to do in today's real estate market. If you're thinking about or wanting to buy a home, this is for you. It's not a sales pitch webinar for me to be hired as your agent, but to give you simple, practical help that 95% of realtors, they don't even know these things, let alone do them. It's right for people whether they've hired an agent or whether they haven't. There's a Q&A at the end for your real world situations. The market in real estate is very different nowadays. The old ways, they don't work anymore. And they may cost you a fortune if navigated incorrectly. Or maybe worse, they may quietly cost you and you won't even be aware of it and didn't even know what happened. You do not want to miss the things that you should have seen given the right help. There's also a link in the description to the live workshop as well as the pinned comment. And then next up is another advice video critique that I did. And it has even more dangerous advice in it, and I'll let you know what I think.